Option of this draft agenda. Honorable Landis, the seconder. Honorable Dlakude. Are there any apologies? No apologies have been tendered. Thank you. The minutes of the meeting of the 24th of April have been distributed. I first want us to check page by page in terms of the correctness of these minutes, after which I will ask for the adoption thereof. Page 1, page 2, page 3, and page 4. Can I have a member of the committee then to move the adoption of these minutes as a true reflection of the meeting of the 24th?
Chair, may I just point out that I see I'm referred to as an advocate. Thanks for the promotion, but I'm actually an attorney, if we could just correct that.
We immediately withdraw that, Honourable Swart.
Thank you, Chair.
That correction will be made. Thank you. I've asked for a mover for the adoption. Honourable Dlakude has moved the adoption of the minutes. Is there a seconder? Honourable Moloi Moropa. We now come to matters arising. I'm sure there's nothing on page 1. Matters arising on page 2. Matters arising on page 3.
Thank you, Chairperson. There are a number of resolutions that we took there, including that you would seek clarity on the terms of reference and the mandate of the ad hoc committee. Perhaps you can enlighten us what clarity you have achieved.
Yes, I'll deal with, there's essentially two matters that require our attention. Apart from those two, and the one is, of course, the term of reference, and the second one dealt with, or the first one actually dealt with the request to include the Honourable Swart as a full member of this committee. Honourable members, I have subsequently dealt with the two matters, and I wish to inform the meeting as follows. On the 11th of April 2014, the Honourable Dr. Mulder wrote a letter to the Speaker of the National Assembly making a request that the slot be allocated to another smaller party. The Speaker of the National Assembly replied on the 15th of April, and the letter is available here, however, I don't want to. And replies to Dr. Mulder under the heading Utilization of Cope Slot on the Ad hoc Committee by Smaller Parties. I'll just read the key paragraphs in this letter. As determined by the rules, a portfolio committee consists of the number of the assembly members that the Speaker may determine with the concurrence of the Rules Committee. At the National Assembly Rules Committee held on the 1st of November 2011, it was agreed that portfolio committees for the remainder of the Fourth Parliament would be composed as follows: the ANC 7, the DA 2, COPE 1, the IFP 1, and other parties 1. As determined by the rules and as is practice, the majority of allocations in the National Assembly, including representation on committees, is allocated in terms of the strength of representation in the Assembly. Although not every party may be represented in a committee, Assembly Rule 153 provides that any member may attend committee and subcommittee meetings and speak on the matters before the committee. The current membership of the Ad hoc Committee, as decided by the Speaker, is in terms of an agreed formula for portfolio committees, as determined by the Rules Committee. The rules therefore enable any member to attend and participate in a committee subject only to reasonable restrictions the chairperson may impose. The Speaker cannot, on his own, vary an agreed formula and established practice. That was a letter from the Speaker to the whip of the smaller parties, Dr. Mulder. The matter was then further substantiated in the meeting that we had last Thursday on the 24th, and Rule 138 was pointed out in terms of the chairperson exercising his discretion and the rule states that the chairperson may decide. Because this matter was already escalated to the Speaker, and the Speaker has responded to the whip of the smaller parties, I thus concur with the ruling of the Speaker. The Honourable, I almost said Edward again, Swart may continue participation in the meeting, but not as a full member of the committee. I hope that clarifies that matter. Secondly, the other matter that took up quite a bit of time on Friday dealt with the mandate of this committee. I have followed up on the matter, and I've also discussed the matter with the Speaker, who is ultimately responsible for the publication of the mandate in the ATC. And I want to take the honourable members just through the following. On the 19th of March 2014, the Public Protector released a report on the security upgrades at the President's private residence. The report was not submitted to Parliament. It was submitted to the President of the Republic. In terms of the Executive Members Ethics Act, number 82 of 1998, the President must, within a reasonable time, but not later than 14 days after receiving a report on a Cabinet member or Deputy Minister referred to in subsection 2A of the Act, submit a copy of the report and any comments thereon, together with a report on any action or to be taken in regard thereto to the National Assembly. On the 2nd of April, the President submitted the following documents to the Speaker: the letter in response to the Public Protector's report, the proclamation by the President of the Republic of South Africa, proclamation number R59 of 2013, and a copy of the Public Protector's report. The above-mentioned submissions by the President constitute his response to the Public Protector's report. The documents were tabled in the ATC publication on the same day. Following and in response to the response by the President, the Speaker decided, after a consultative process with all political parties, to establish an ad hoc committee to consider the submission made by the President. This decision was announced in the ATC of 9 April 2014. Therefore, the ad hoc committee was specifically established as a response to the reply by the President. Hence, the mandate reads, and I quote, to consider the submissions by the President of the Republic of South Africa in response to the Public Protector's report and make recommendations where applicable. As the three documents submitted are related, the rationale with this mandate was that the ad hoc committee must look at the letter by the President, the Special Investigative Unit proclamation, and the copy of the report within the context of the response given by the President. I hope this clarifies the mandate of this committee. There's another matter I just want to comment on, because I've been approached outside by the media on the issuing of summonses to witnesses to appear in front of this committee. The committee did not take any decision in terms of firstly calling witnesses. Forget about summonsing, because summonsing usually comes after a long, exhaustive process of interaction. It usually occurs, and I can't recall in this Parliament, but I remember there were a few instances in the third Parliament when we came very close to issuing summonses to witnesses to appear in front of portfolio committees. In the response of the President, he clearly indicates his willingness to interact with the National Assembly into Parliament. He also expresses an understanding of his mandate in terms of the Constitution and his responsibilities as the head of government and the head of state. The issue of summonsing is thus not on the agenda of this committee, and the committee will thus confine itself to the mandate of the committee. That is my response to the issues as I was tasked by this committee to get clarity on. I will now open for comment. Honourable Mazibuko.
Thanks, Chairperson. It would seem to me from a straightforward reading of the mandate of the committee, as you've outlined it, that you are relegating the report of the Public Protector and the SIU proclamation to related documents as related to the President's letter. But nowhere in any of the terms of reference given to us by the Speaker is there any indication that one or the other document must be considered principal and the others secondary. So I'd like to get clarity from you on how you've come to this conclusion. On a couple of occasions when you referred to submissions, you referred to them in the singular. There isn't a single document that's been referred to this committee that ever refers to the President's submission in the singular. I would argue that that is not deliberately so, but it is misleading. There are 3 documents that have been submitted to this committee, and all 3 submissions have to be considered by this committee on an equal basis. So if you could provide clarity about the exact nature of your interactions with the Speaker, whether or not you sought a legal opinion, and how it is you've come to regard 2 documents as subservient to one, when all of the documents we have before us have been referred to in the plural from the start, with no indication that one is more important than the other. Thank you.
Any additional comment? Honorable Lakude.
Thank you, Chairperson. I just want to remind ourselves, which is the committee, that the report of the Public Protector was not submitted to Parliament. It's only the President who attached it with his response to this matter. So we will stick to the mandate of this committee, nothing else. Thank you.
Are there any additional comments?
Yes, Chairperson.
Honorable Mulder.
We can ignore the Public Protector's report as much as we like. It's a reality. And I say to you, we need to deal with it, whether we like it or not. The fact of the matter, Chairperson, is that the President attached the report to his letter. We should give exactly the same amount of time and energy to that report as we give to the President's letter and all the other documentation. It's up to Parliament to do what we are supposed to do, and we cannot ignore that reality.
Honorable Moloi Moropa.
Thank you, Chairperson. On the matters that you have raised, I take it that the issue that relates to the vacancy or the decline of participating by COPE is already clarified, and I take it that it's a matter that is now gone before us as per outline. Now, on this matter of the reports, like Honorable Dlakude has indicated, of course, the matter comes with the correspondence or with the response of the President to the committee in terms of the number of days that he was given. So it's not a report that was presented directly to this House, and that is a well-known fact. It came through the President's letter, and it's not only the Public Prosecutor's report. We do have also the interministerial committee report that is referred to on the letter, which also constitute part of the documentation, and we read them along that line.
We'll come back to you, Honorable Mulder. The Honorable Burgess, then the Honorable Self.
Chairperson, I'd like to raise a point of order here. I take it, Chairperson, that you have consulted on this question of the terms of reference. But my point of order is your determination now, is that a ruling of the Chairperson?
Let me not do that, Honorable Burgess. Let me first give the other members an opportunity, because I've asked for comments. At the appropriate time, I will rule on the matter. Honorable Self.
Yes, thank you, Chairperson. I would refer you to the ATC of the 22nd of April, which relates to the appointment of the Ad Hoc Committee on the President's submissions, plural, in response to the Public Protector's report. And it refers there to the submissions. I submitted the following documents in the plural: a letter in response to the Public Protector's report, the proclamation, and a copy of the Public Protector's report. And then the very important addition goes on. After consultation with the chief whip of the majority party and senior whips of other parties, I, that is the Speaker, have decided in terms of Rule 214(1)(b) to appoint an ad hoc committee, the committee to consider the submissions, plural, of the President of the Republic of South Africa in response to the Public Protector's report and to make recommendations where applicable. Now, I concede that the Public Protector's report was not, in the first instance, referred to Parliament. It was, in fact, part of the submissions by the President, and we are enjoined by the Speaker to consider those submissions, which include the copy of the Public Protector's report. And to the extent that the interministerial task team is relevant, it is traversed in the Public Protector's report, and it would be entirely appropriate for us at that stage and when considering the Public Protector's report to consider the issues raised with it. More specifically, Mr. Chairperson, in respect of the answer given by the Honourable President himself when he refers in his letter to the Speaker to the fact that the security ministers cooperated in the Public Protector's investigation, that both the investigation by the security chair ministers and the Public Protector inquired into substantively the same subject matter, and then he goes on to say, notwithstanding there are stark differences in respect of both the findings as well as the remedial action proposed by the two reports. With the greatest respect, I don't believe that one can do justice to the response by the President dated the 2nd of April without inquiring into at least the Public Protector's report and, quite honestly, also the Security Cluster Minister's report, because otherwise we'll not be able to work out what the stark differences are and what the remedial action is that is appropriate in these circumstances. To do less than that, Mr. Chairman, would constitute failing the task that we've been given by the Speaker.
The Honourable Singh, the Honourable Mulder, and then the Honourable Manamela.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson, and I'm sorry that I arrived a bit late. I just couldn't get a lift up. Chairperson, and I'm sorry I missed your ruling early on. I'd just like to know if there's anything in writing in that regard with your consultation with the Speaker that can be tabled before this committee for consideration in terms of what the Speaker's view is of the terms of reference. Because as I said the other day, I mean, my position and the position of our party is that the fact that the Public Protector's report was attached in the letter that was addressed by the President to the Speaker means that it should be part and parcel of this committee's deliberations. And that's where we stand on that particular issue. Thanks.
Honourable Mulder.
Yes, Chairperson, in lighter vein, our honourable colleague just now referred to the report as a report by the Public Prosecutor. I don't think we are there yet. This is the Public Protector's report, be that as it may. No, Chairperson, I would like to address you when we are finished with the terms and reference of the Commission with regard the committee, also with regard to the issue of Mr. Swart, if possible. You can indicate if you want me to address it now or when we finish the terms of reference.
No, you can do both, Honourable Mulder.
Thank you, Chairperson.
It's both our matters arising.
Yes. Thank you, Chairperson. Let me address you with regard to the issue of Mr. Swart. You correctly pointed out the letter which I sent to the Speaker was to ask for that position to be filled by him. The Speaker's reply basically indicated that in terms of the decision by the Rules Committee, the proportionality should be taken into consideration, and because he cannot change what the Rules Commission decided, he cannot agree to that proposal in terms of the proportionality. I understand that. But the argument we put forward on Thursday last week, was in terms of Rule 134 of the rules, which does not deal with that issue. We argued in terms of Rule 134, which indicates if a member of a committee or his alternate cannot be present, and clearly, for whatever reason, the member of COPE and if there's an alternate are not present. We argued that in that case, the chairperson of the committee, yourself, has a discretion. It says quite clearly, if a member of the committee and that member's alternate are both absent for the meeting of the committee, the chairperson may co-opt any other assembly member, not necessarily from that party, any other assembly member to act as a member of the committee until the committee member or alternate member is no longer absent. And in terms of that rule, we requested you to use your discretion and to make it possible for Mr. Swart to attend. Thank you.
The Honourable Manamela.
Thank you, Chair. I think we just need to clarify what our understanding of your the outcome of your consultation with the Speaker is. Our understanding is that there is no document that is going to be ignored. I think it would be absurd to suggest that we are going to consider the President's submission to the Speaker or the President's response to the Speaker on the Public Protector's report without considering the Public Protector's report. It would have also been absurd for the President to make that response to the Speaker without attaching the Public Protector's report. But our understanding is that we are considering the response of the President to the Public Protector's report. And for ease of reference, the report is also given to the ad hoc committee. And similarly, I think the proclamation by the President on the SIU, and I think there was an addition to that effect that if we could also be favored with the interministerial task team report. So there is no dispute about whether we should, and that's why in the last meeting we insisted that we should be given time to go through the report, that those members of the committee who did not go through the report should be given time to go through the report. So there's no dispute about that. I think the main issue is to try and suggest that our main task of inquiry as a committee is in relation to the Public Protector's report. That's not our task. It is only incidental because of the document that has been, the document that has been referred to us, which is the response by the President. So I thought we should clarify that. But I think the other important point here, the issue of the participation by the ACDP. If we look at rule, the 134, which has been referred to, the point here is that we are not aware yet whether COPE is absent or COPE is refusing to participate as a committee. And I think we need that clarification because there's a difference between a member absenting themselves and a member or a party refusing to participate, because those are two different things. But even if we make that determination, that determination is also not, does not therefore conclude that the chair may co-opt the Honourable Swart from the ACDP, because it's not clear whether it is at the discretion of the chair, which my understanding that it is at the discretion of the chair to co-opt any member. And I think a rider to that is that any member can participate. And I think let's probably take it in that spirit, that any member of Parliament can participate in the proceedings of the ad hoc committee. However, that member may not vote, which I think should be extended to all the other alternate members. Thank you, Chair.
The Honourable James.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to confirm that there are 3 reports on the table and not just one. And so this committee must confirm that is so. And clearly, in terms of the argumentation and what it is the Speaker asked us to do, there are 3 reports on the table, not 1 report on the table. And once that is confirmed clearly, then we need to develop an agenda to deal with all 3, not just one.
Honourable Swart.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, just in response to the 134 rule, if today this committee did not have a quorum, you would have the opportunity to co-opt someone. You've got that discretion. So whilst I appreciate the Speaker took a decision on a separate issue, the decision lies with you as to whether to co-opt. And I would like just clarity if you've taken that decision. I think you deferred it you said that the Speaker had taken a decision. The discretion lies with you today. You could co-opt. The member is absent for whatever reason from COPE. There is an absence here, so and I will abide by your decision respectfully, Chair. Secondly, just thank you for the clarity. We will definitely then, as I understand it, be looking at the Public Protector's report and other reports in the light. It would be absurd not, as the Honourable Member correctly points out, not to consider the Public Protector's report. The obvious question is, to what degree can we do that in the short time available, and what will be that terms of reference? How are we going to consider that? And I think that is something that we need to deliberate on very quickly. If we're now introducing 2 other reports which might be necessary, again, time is very limited, and we need to bear that in mind. Thank you, Chairperson.
Honourable members, let me first deal with the issue of the co-option of a member. I refer to the communication of the whip of the smaller parties with the Speaker and the Speaker's response. And I said that in terms of the relevant rule, I've applied my mind. And your point that you raised, Honourable Swart, is speculative. Being a quorum, being present or not, it's neither here nor there. However, I have applied my mind, and I have decided that you may participate in the proceedings of the meeting like any other member of Parliament. However, that the slot that was allocated to COPE not be reallocated to another member. No other member will be co-opted onto this committee. And that's my ruling. Secondly, Honourable Mazibuko, you arrive at a conclusion that my input into this meeting is misleading, and I want to dismiss that with the content that it deserves. I want to repeat the relevant paragraph that I've read in terms of my input as far as the terms of reference is concerned. And it reads as follows. On 2nd April, the President submitted the following documents to the Speaker: letter in response to the Public Protector's report, proclamation by the President of the Republic of South Africa, proclamation number R359 of 2013, and a copy of the Public Protector's report. The above-mentioned submissions by the President constitute his response to the Public Protector report. The documents were tabled in the announcements, tablings, and committee reports publication of the same day. I've referred to that. Then there is, of course, different views that emanates out of this. And that's why, without getting all these different interpretations, I took the liberty of discussing the terms of reference specifically with the Speaker. And the Speaker was clear that what is in front of this committee to consider is the response of the President. The response of the President. I then further went and I requested that the Secretary to the National Assembly, Mr. Kaso, is available here, they developed that request from the Speaker in conjunction with the wishes and intentions of the Speaker to be present. And I'll just briefly give him an opportunity to make a comment.
Mr. Chair, I think you have explained what transpired in your discussions with the Speaker. I really have nothing to add to the matter. Thanks.
Thank you, Honourable members, for that part of the discussion of terms of reference. My input here has been confirmed by the Secretary to the National Assembly. So, Honourable Mazibuko, I'm not misleading this committee. I'm giving a report as the committee requested me to do. What is clear, Honourable members, is that there is a response from the President with certain submissions attached to it. It brings us then to the point made by the Honourable Swart, where he said, these are the submissions. What is the extent to which we
As you know, his praise name is Dalibunga.